The next hidden figure that I have the pleasure of introducing you to, she is the owner of Nubian Tours. She worked for United Airlines. Her son is the chef and he caters to Magic Johnson. He has his own restaurant, he and his wife. She's probably one of the top 10 in terms of first clients. And the first time she came and shopped with me, she bought a whole lot. She is an entrepreneur. She had her own clothing store. And the name of her company is Nubian Tours. And she was very Afrocentric. She dressed in Afrocentric attire because that's what she sold. And she's complimented me on many occasions saying, "You got me out of African American attire, Afrocentric attire." And I said, "I think that's a compliment." I met her very similar to Carol. She owns a P.O. box over there. And so she told me a couple times, "I'm gonna move my P.O. box because you're costing me too much money." And I say, "You know how much money I'll lose if you do that?" And I'll never forget, after she came and shopped the first time, I wanted to take her picture. And she got out of the car, she said, "Nope, I'm not coming over there." I was like, "I want to take your picture." She said, "Nope, And now whenever she comes into the parking lot, even if she is picking up her mail and leaving, she'll call me and say, "I'm in the parking lot. I know you saw me, but I can't stop. I got to keep going." And then she also coined the phrase, "I'm coming to see you today because I need to visit my money." So with that being said, come on up, Joe Keita from Nubian Tours, one of our hidden figures.
And I'm still visiting my money.
Yes. Yes, you are. So come on, have a seat on the red sofa.
Now this clash.
I know. What? All right. So, Joe, how long have you owned Nubian Tours?
Let's see, since 1990.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's wonderful. Can you tell us about your time at Motown? Because I don't know if you guys knew that she has history with Motown. I only know that because she brings her mail over, and I said, "What's that Motown thing there? What you doing?" Tell us about your time at Motown.
Well, I'm from Detroit,
Okay.
and I grew up with a lot of the Motown people.
Please name drop. We want to hear that. Yes. Give us some names. We want to get excited.
Oh, okay.
Did you know Green Eyes, Smokey Robinson? Did you know him?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. We grew up together.
Oh, wow.
Smokey and Ronnie White and Bobby Rogers. It was the northwest part of Detroit.
Okay.
So I met them by mistake, and this was before they even started their group.
Okay.
And once they started the group, and then Barry signed them up, and they started signing up other people.
Wow.
One of the things that was a challenge for them
Okay.
as black people, Barry Gordy could not get a credit card.
Wow.
And with all of the business and all the money they were making, he still couldn't qualify. I shouldn't say they, but United Airlines, I went to United Airlines and asked them if they could help.
Okay.
Because when you've got people going out constantly to perform, they were on buses.
Right.
And they would get sick.
Yes.
Being, performing on the show, getting on the bus, going to the next venue, not even seeing a hotel, So I did a letter to Barry Gordy.
Okay.
And told him that I think I could help him get a credit card.
Okay.
But I just needed to speak with him to find out if he was open with the policy that United made. Was that each week on a Wednesday, I have to go to Motown and collect the money for the tickets that we issued the week before. They didn't want to give them a month to pay. It was every week I had to be there to pick up that check and take it back to United Airlines. And of course, eventually, when we gave them the credit cards and the other companies found out how much money they were spending, all of a sudden, everyone wanted to give them a credit card.
Yes, good.
But that didn't happen. No, they did go with American Express, but I got them one of the top credit card companies. It was United Air Travel Plan.
Okay.
And you could use that for any airline.
Okay.
And so they used that for a while. In fact, they still had it when I left Detroit.
Okay.
But that was, there were challenges for them. When I would get on a plane, people or the flight attendants would automatically tell me I belonged in coach.
Wow.
Without asking me.
So we can hear, please.
I'm sorry?
You speak loudly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
What happened
When I get on the airline, when I would get on a plane, the flight attendants would automatically tell me I needed to go to coach. And I said, well, and with being an employee of United, I could fly first class.
Right.
And I said, well, aren't you going to ask me for my boarding pass? I don't need to. I said, oh, okay. So I would just go and sit down,
Okay. Did
But
you
it
stay
was-
in coach? Did you stay in first class?
First class.
Okay, just checking. Just checking.
I wasn't turning right.
Okay. Okay. Good.
So there were a lot of challenges for them. And there was a guy who was an ex-FBI.
Okay.
And he was one of Barry's top men. And we just happened to be on the same plane one day. And I said, oh, hi, John, how you doing? That day I was going to coach because first class was full. I couldn't get in. Bummer.
Right. Right. Did you grab a little, little
something.
split and go to the back?
So he called, he said, come here. He said, why does she keep asking me to see my boarding pass?
Okay.
I showed it to the person when I got on. Why do I have to keep showing? I said, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. I went and I talked to her.
Okay.
I said, this is really getting dangerous. You really need to think about what you're doing and saying to this man. He's very important.
Exactly.
I said, he's ex-FBI. And it was like, oh, okay.
Here's some peanuts, right? Here's some champagne. Thank you. Take this back there with you. Thank you.
It's a lot of crazy stuff, but it was worth it.
It was. You made a difference. Thank you.
That's right. Yeah.
So can you tell us, I mean, Joe has done some amazing things and put together some amazing travel plans for several of my clients. And one of them told me just the other day, she said, I am spoiled. She said, I can't take a trip that Joe is not coordinating because she just lays it out first class. Because you see, she's not going to turn right. She's not going to turn right, so she's not going to have you turn right either. But you did something recently, and it just really touched my heart. Can you tell us about the program where you take kids from Compton to Egypt?
Yeah.
And just thinking about that, I was like, I didn't get my passport stamped until I was in my late 30s, and they're kids with passports stamped.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the program?
Well, it started with my son. I took him to Africa. When he was in school, he didn't want to go because the kids were teasing him.
Okay.
I didn't know at the time that that's why he didn't want to go. He just said, I don't want to go.
Okay.
You know? But when he finally went, I took my parents, and then he thought, oh, I'm going with granddaddy and grandmama, right? And so when we got there, it was really, I saw him change. He was working for Data General at the time.
Okay.
And what he saw, what he told me was that seeing black people in Africa having their own business, black presidents, you know, people in office, people running a country.
Right.
He just felt that the best thing for him to do, because he was always told that, no, you're dreaming too high, was to go home. He came back and started his own business.
Yes.
As a chef for, and it was a kiosk in Westwood.
Okay.
And Magic Johnson saw him there and used to go and get food from him, and then they became very close friends, especially knowing they were both from Detroit, you know.
Right.
But my son said, what you need to do is start taking children to Africa. I said, how am I going to do that?
Right.
He said, Mama, it's very important that they see what I saw.
Wow.
He said, it will really help to change their life. So I tried going to a couple of schools, and the teachers and principal felt that it was just too much of responsibility. They didn't want to deal with that. But one day I got a call from a friend whose associate worked at Watts Learning Center.
Okay.
And she said, they're looking for someone for a travel agent. Would you be willing to meet with them? I said, sure. And when I went to sit and talk with them, they told me about a travel agent who set up a whole thing for them to go to South Africa.
Okay.
And when it was time to leave, she called the day before and said, I can't go with you.
Wow.
So as a result, you've got a principal and, you know, parents. No one knew anything about travel. And they were there in South Africa, and a lot of things went wrong because they didn't have the right people with them, you know. So they interviewed me, and I told them, okay, I'll be happy to do this. It was like, thank you, God, I'm going to be able to do this, you know, take kids to Africa. The first place we went was Senegal, and they were really, really impressed. What the parents did was they would get together to raise money to take the children. Any money left over would go to the parents for their travel, but the parents had to pay for their own. And I would insist that at least one parent or grandparent or family member go with them, because when they come home and they get these kids teasing them, they've got that foundation at home that they can go to and say, Mama, this happened today, and that, and they could just say, hey, don't pay any attention, you know.
Exactly.
So we required that at least one relative would go with the children. What I found is that, like, we would ask them before going, write down what you think when you hear the word Africa.
Okay.
Negative, you know, a lot of negative comments. And when we came back from Africa, we asked them to do it again, and it was incredible.
Wow.
Incredible.
Wow.
We used to have women who would sit with the girls in Africa and tell them about the history and how women were at that time.
Okay.
The customs and the traditions. One girl from Watts said, my mother always buying me things.
Right.
All I wanted for her to do was to tell me she loved me.
Oh.
And she said that in front of, you know, everybody, and I lost it.
Yes.
I lost it, and her mother said, well, I thought I was doing what you asked me to do. She said, yeah, every time I ask you for something, you give it to me, but all I wanted you to do was to love me.
Wow.
So those kind of meetings,
Yes.
you know, helped to bring out a lot of things, and they were away from their other friends and so forth, and they were able to hear.
And make those connections.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, Joe, you have, you know, just blessed me with your stories, your experiences, and every opportunity. Wait, please tell everyone the name of your son's restaurant, because if you haven't experienced his macaroni and cheese, cornbread bowls, see, you're missing out. Please tell them.
Dee's Original Takeout Grill.
Dee's Original Takeout Grill.
Yeah, it's on Western near 79th. He's in the hood.
Yes.
But he also caters to a lot of people like Samuel Jackson, Magic. But Beyonce is like, I mean, she just, whenever she comes to to LA, she has to have him come over. She also flew, he and Wendy, my daughter-in-law, to the East Coast for them to stay with them for 2 weeks and cook every day.
So you can go right to the hood and have the Beyonce experience with Dee's Original.
And come back to the hood.
And come back to the hood. So, Joe, what would you advise anyone who wants to travel and see the world? What would you advise them to do?
I advise you to do it. A lot of people say, oh, you should see United States first, you know. You can do that anytime. What are you going to see?
Right.
I mean, what are you going to, well, you can learn a lot of things when you're traveling. But I think that traveling internationally helps you to understand and to respect other people, their customs, their traditions, and also realize that we are all similar. We're all one.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
I would suggest to anyone, go international. Africa or even Europe. You know, I'm not keen on Europe. I like Europe, but I prefer to book people to Africa because they can always go to Europe on their own.
Right.
Or to the Mexico or wherever. But people have, there's a concern for traveling to Africa because of all the things they've heard about Africa that 90% is not true.
Wow.
You know.
Thank you.
And my father, when we came back from Africa, we were in Paris and they were going to fly back to Detroit and we were going back to LA. And he said, thank you for taking me.
Yes.
Because if anybody says anything to me now about Africa, I'm going to tell them to shut up and go and see for themselves.
Yes.
My father was such a negative person. My poor husband caught hell for at least 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
You know, until he realized that, hey, there's something here I need to learn about.
Right.
You know, he loved it. We took him to Paris. And he said, why are we in Paris? I don't want to see Paris. I want to. Why don't we spend more time in Africa? And I'm like,
wow.
oh God.
Really?
But I added Paris just in case he didn't like Africa.
Oh, and he,
You know, and
he
was
loved
like,
Africa.
Yes, he loved it. Yeah.
Well, Joe won't say this, but I will. If you're looking to travel internationally, you should book your travel through Joe with Nubian Tours. There's one of our hidden figures booked her trip to Africa. She stayed at some of the most amazing places, and she came back and she was telling me all the things that she did. I think she was messing around with a peacock or some kind of animal, and I was like, he's about your size. You need to leave that bird alone.
But and she was also playing around with a baboon.
Yes, that's what it was, a baboon.
A baboon. I'm like, oh my God, when I saw them, I was like, why is she doing that?
Joe did not advise that.
Oh no.
But, you know, some of the things that Joe works through for her clients, you can't get that on Expedia.com. You can't get that, you know, once you're stuck over there, you can't call them. Prior to meeting Joe, I've done some travel just to New York and had problems and could not get anyone to answer the phone. But when I was getting married and we had booked our travel, my travel agent advised me, you know, because El Nino was coming. She was like, you don't want to go, sweetie. You don't want to do that. You don't want to get separated from your spouse. And, you know, so the expertise and the experience that Joe has, it really makes the difference in the travel experience that you would have. So
I have 57 years under my belt. So.
57 years, you can't beat that.
1966 is when I started.
I won't tell you I was born in 67, but okay. I didn't say that. Did I say that? But
Yeah.
Joe, anything else you want to share?
No.
She's
No,
got.
call me. Whatever
Yes.
your travel needs are, give me a chance.
Yes.
Let me see what we can do for you.
Right. And I'll say this. Don't call her and ask for a chance and then go book it yourself after she's put everything together. Don't do that. Not that anyone in this
Thank
room
you.
would do that,
Thank
but I'm
you.
just saying.
Thank you.
But
And it
Joe-
happens a lot now.
It does.
Yeah,
It's like
with
price
people
shopping. And
going online and booking their air, and they're like, well, what am I going to do there? I know. I'll get a travel agent to put an itinerary together for me. And a lot of travel agents are now charging at least $100 to $200 to put an itinerary together.
Right.
So that if you walk, at
Right.
least they got something for putting that together,
Exactly.
because that research takes time.
it does.
Yeah.
It does.
time.
It really does. Well, Joe, thank you for
Thank
visiting
you.
your money today. And being a hidden
Well,
figure.
I need to say to you, you are the best marketing person there was. I mean, it's like whenever there's a low, you will come up with something
Thank you.
market-wise to get
you.
things going. You've also made Culver City very proud of you
Thank
for the
you.
things that you've done for them.
Thank you.
So we can't miss that.
Yes, and I love that her mailbox is right across the way because I've had some challenges.
Trying to get her to move.
No, we're not moving. We're staying. I've had some challenges and walked outside, and she's like, "What's going on with you?" And I'm like, "Joe, such and such, such and such." She's like, "Okay." She said, "But you're gonna get it together, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get it together."
No, you've had some challenges and you've come through.
Thank you.
You've come through. You're shining.
Well, you didn't let me walk, so I had to come through. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you.